Hello, this is Stan Dubin, and welcome to the Hiring Tips Podcast. The name of this tip is, how long do you wait for the right person? So we all know how important it is to hire the right people. We try to be thorough. We go through resumes with a fine-tooth comb. We do background checks. We talk to previous employers if we can. We interview people once, twice, and even 3 to 4 different times. We use employee tests to help us learn more about the candidates. But in the end, we've got to make a decision. If we're not certain we've got the right person, what do? Well, I've spoken with many employers and HR people over the years, and they are usually working with 2 pressures. 1, the pressure to get someone hired and doing the work that needs to be done. 2, the pressure to hire the right person so that 1 or 2 months down the road, they're not going through the whole process again. So that kind of restates the subject of this hiring tip. How long do we hold out for the right person? Well, first let me state the obvious. It does depend on your specific circumstances of each hire. If the position has to be filled yesterday, and its lack of being filled is adversely impacting the bottom line, then you may be in the compromise business and willing to hire someone who is, quote, good enough, end quote. If you feel you have considerably more time to get the right person, then you stay at it longer. And there are many shades of gray in between these 2 scenarios. Some of us entertain concerns like, I don't even know if the right person is out there. Or, I could be at this forever and not get the person I really want. Or, if I hire this guy and he doesn't pan out, I'm okay on going through this entire process again and again and again. I'm going nuts here, so I've got to fill this position. So, do I have any sage advice for you? Well, I recall a customer who needed a front desk person hired. It was a key position. The position was responsible for handling phone reaches and walk-up traffic. If the person holding this position is sharp, he converts those prospects into buyers. It was a relatively small business, so the position really did have to have someone really good. Now, this customer was using our testing service, and the first 2 candidates were so-so, both from his point of view and from the point of view of the test results. After he tested the 3rd candidate, he called to tell me how much he loved this 3rd person. He went on and on about his resume and his experience. He was gushing. But he also knew the test scores weren't all that great. One test in particular indicated the candidate had considerable difficulty following instructions. Now, I wasn't going to tell him to hire the person or not hire the person. I just wanted to make sure he knew there was quite a red flag with the subject of following instructions. He went quiet for a while on the phone, and I asked him what he wanted to do. He told me he wasn't sure, and we ended the phone call. A few days later, another set of tests came in. The scores were very good, and my customer called to tell me he loved this person as well. We talked about it some, and he was happy to now have a person who met his needs and also tested out well. So I asked him a bit of a self-serving question. I asked him if he were not using our testing service, would he have pulled the trigger on the 3rd candidate? He said he most definitely would have. But he went on to say, Stan, there's another piece to this. I bumped into the guy's previous employer, and all he would talk about was how much difficulty he had with the guy following instructions. So I realize this story is a nice plug for our testing services, but it also makes a point. He hung in there to get the right person, and he succeeded. Sometimes you need a little help to hire the right person. Sometimes it takes believing that person is out there. Thank you for listening. I'd like to ask a very big favor, and that is to head over to iTunes, And if you type in the phrase hiring tips or even just the word hiring, you'll make your way to our podcast fairly quickly. And then if you could leave us a review of any kind, and if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to the Hiring Tips podcast. And one more big favor, let your friends and business associates know about our Hiring Tips podcast. That would be exceptionally helpful and greatly appreciated. The Hiring Tips is brought to you by the Employee Testing Center. We have an employee testing service that will help you hire better staff. It's very accurate, easy to understand, and delightfully affordable. Watch our 3-minute video at getbetterstaff.com. That's getbetterstaff.com. Our podcast does not represent legal advice. Employment law can vary from state to state. So please consult an attorney familiar with the law that applies to the area where your business is located for any legal questions specific to your company.